Divorce isn't loud. That's the first thing people get wrong about it. It doesn't arrive with a crash. It doesn't announce itself with shouting or slam doors or dramatic final words. Most of the time, divorce arrives quietly and then it stays. It settles into your life slowly, like a fog you don't notice at first. At the beginning, everything still looks the same. The days still move forward. The sun still comes up. Responsibilities don't disappear. But something underneath all of it has shifted. Once the decision is made, everything slows down. Not externally, but internally. Life continues, but your sense of rhythm disappears. You wake up, but without direction. You move through the day, but without momentum. I still went to work. I still showed up where I was supposed to. But I was moving through life on autopilot. I wasn't just losing a marriage. I was losing a version of myself. Being a husband had quietly become part of my identity. It shaped how I saw myself, how others saw me, and how I understood my future. Without that wall, I felt unanchored. It wasn't just a relationship that ended. It was the story I had been telling myself about who I was becoming. The routines disappeared first. The small habits you don't think about until they're gone. The shared mornings. The assumed conversations. The comfort of knowing someone was there even when nothing was being said. Even silence felt different when it was no longer shared. The house felt different. The air felt heavier. Spaces that once felt familiar now felt hollow. And that's when the quiet really sets in. People don't warn you about the silence that follows divorce. Friends don't know what to say. Some disappear completely. Others check in once or twice, then slowly fade away when they realize there's nothing to fix. Not because they don't care, but because discomfort makes people uncomfortable. And when there is no crisis left to respond to, silence takes over. I found myself alone with my thoughts more than I had ever been before. And that's dangerous if you're not ready for honesty. Without the title of a husband, I had to face myself without labels, without structure, without distraction. Trust me, that kind of silence forces questions you can't avoid. Who am I now? What did I build my identity around? What part of myself did I neglect while trying to maintain something that was already broken? Divorce doesn't just remove a person from your life, it removes a framework. And when the framework collapses, you are left standing in the open. At first, I tried to fill the silence. I stayed busy. I distracted myself. I avoided being still for too long because stillness felt dangerous. Stillness made everything louder. The memories, the regret, the questions. There were moments when loneliness felt overwhelming. Moments when the temptation to rush into something new was strong. Not because I was ready, but because I didn't want to sit with the emptiness anymore. Loneliness has a way of convincing you that anything is better than silence. That distraction is healing. That replacement is recovery. But deep down, I knew rushing would only repeat the cycle. I knew if I didn't face this version of myself now, I would carry it into the next relationship, and the next, and the next. The voice stripped me everything down to the foundation. And foundations reveal what was solid and what was never built properly to begin with. I realized I had relied on marriage for structure, for direction, for identity. And not intentionally, but completely. Without it, I felt exposed. I had to confront the uncomfortable truth that I didn't fully know myself outside of a relationship. That scared me. Because if you don't know who you are alone, you will always lose yourself with someone else. The quiet forced me to confront parts of myself I had avoided. My need for validation, my fear of being alone, my tendency to attach my worth to being chosen. Those realizations didn't come all at once. They came slowly, painfully, late at night, early in the morning, in moments when there was nowhere left to run. Divorce doesn't give you closure, it gives you space. And space reveals everything. There were days when the quiet felt unbearable. Days when I questioned whether I had made the right decision. Days when the weight of the unknown felt heavier than the pain I felt I left behind. But there's also something else happening beneath the surface. Growth. Slow, uncomfortable, necessary growth. The quiet wasn't punishment, it was preparation. It stripped away everything I used to define myself by, so I could finally see what was underneath. Divorce didn't end my story, it paused it. And in that pause, I began to understand something important. Sometimes life has to collapse what you built so you can finally build something real. That's what the silence was doing, teaching me who I was when no one else was there. And that lesson changed everything.